Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe. Hi everybody, I thought I'd take this opportunity just to quickly explain how I did this photograph. Now, I'm a big fan of Tony Northrup and Chelsea Northrup, who every Thursday night they do like a live show where they talk about photography and generally have a laugh, and it's really good. And they recently did one where there was a bit of a challenge to come up with a levitation photograph that you could then share. And what happens is during the show, they look at all the photographs. You can send them to them, and then they comment on them, and it's really good. Anyway, so I came up with this photo, which is obviously me, and then I appear to be levitating an Olympus Trip 35 out of my hand. Obviously, it's done in Photoshop, but I thought I'd share how I did it, because it is actually... It's really quick to do the Photoshop bit, as you'll see in a minute. But what's key in this sort of shot is the setup. Because if you get the setup right, everything else is very, very simple. So, if you can imagine, this is obviously made up of two pictures. And in fact, if I nip into Photoshop, you can see there's me holding onto the camera, dangling it by its strap. And the other shot is me just kind of standing there with my hand sticking out. And so what I did was I set up my camera on a tripod, which is obviously just in front of me, and then I put an external flash on it as well. And the flash is firing to my camera left, so my right, and I put a blue gel on it, a blue filter on. You didn't really do that. I could have added the blue tone in post-processing, but I put a blue filter on it, so it was firing to my left, bouncing off the wall, and then bouncing back again to kind of get these dramatic lights. And then what you've got to do to get this sort of shot easy to post-process, you've got to put everything in manual mode. So what that means, obviously, the camera's on a tripod, and I go into manual mode, M on the command dial on my 600D, on the mode dial on my 600D. I set the aperture to... I think I set it to about f4, because what I wanted was not only to be able to comp the camera in easily, but also I wanted a bit of a depth of field look where my hand and the camera in focus, but I was slightly blurred to make the photo a little bit three-dimensional. So I set that and set the manual focus. On the floor we have a mat, and the mat's a pattern mat, so I just looked at the floor and placed so I could always get my foot in the same place, then roughly got my hand above my foot so I could keep that where it was. Focused on my hand, and then flicked the lens to manual focus so it was fixed. I set the shutter speed to 200th of a second, and I think it was about f4, and the ISO I think was about ISO 400. The flash as well I put to manual. I think it was on something like a quarter power. So everything is manual, because what you need to make sure is that between that shot and that shot, there's no difference in lighting or exposure or anything like that. And it's pretty much, I think the only thing I did muck up actually slightly, if you look very close, was the focus. I must have knocked the focus on the lens some, because it's slightly different from one picture to the other, but not enough to see. So once you've got everything, solid, so the camera's taking the same picture, then all I had to do was just to take two pictures, and then if we go into this, so this is them in Photoshop. So again, so there's me with the camera, and there's the first one. So I've just put them in a layer stack on the right hand side. That's the one on the bottom, and then if I comp in this one, so if I just turn the visibility on this one, you can see the camera hanging down. So all you've got to do is go to your top layer, and then you add a mask to it, which is this little odd icon here, which is that there. Then all you do, and that adds a mask, then all you do is you grab the paintbrush tool, and you set your paint to black, alright, and then using a soft edge, you can use a soft edged brush if you like, and then all you do is you just paint on the camera. Now the trick here, you see, is you don't have to do any fine selections at all, and the reason for that is that this type of shot where you bring two things together is simple, because there's no direct contact between one object and the other. This would be a lot trickier if the camera was actually in my hand, but because I've made sure it's separate, it's really, really simple. And all I have to do is just paint on top of the camera. See, the camera's disappearing. I should have used a bigger brush, really, shouldn't I? And it's disappearing because what I'm doing is I'm painting on the mask, and the mask is then just getting rid of this bit. And the only kind of tricky bit almost is up here where the ring is. In fact, I might zoom in a little bit on that just to make sure I've got all that. Let's have a look. Let's go down to a smaller brush size and just take that off just there. Let's go back out again. And then all you've got to do is invert the mask. So you click on the mask, do Control-I. There we go. And I'm there. Now, it's not quite right because there's an extra little bit there. So let's zoom in a little bit. And then change my brush to a white brush. Ooh, sorry, black brush. And then just do that bit. And there we go. And that is how easy it is, because everything was set up. Oh, I won't use the term perfectly, but well, before, when it comes to actually doing the comping the layers together, it's very, very simple. And again, it is very simple because I'm not trying to cut out exactly, because the background is the same. I can just roughly just brush it all out. And there we go. If it was something where I was trying to levitate myself and I was sitting on a box, I had to take the box away, it'd be a different matter. But anything where the two objects are physically in a different place and there's nothing joining them, it's really very simple indeed. Just add a mask, paint it out with a black, and then invert the mask, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. You've got a really easy composite. So there we go. That's enough from me. My name's Rob from RobNorthrup.com. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. If you like the videos, please subscribe and share them, and I'll see you again soon.